Good morning, good morning, good morning. Freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom fighters, and freedom family. Snaps in the gorilla in the building. Damn it. Hitting y'all with this quick live stream just to give an interesting and ironic update about saturated fat, right? If you guys don't know what saturated fat is, it's basically fat that it basically has a certain melting point, right, where it will harden at a certain temperature, unlike other fats like trans fats or not trans fats, like shit, I forgot, polyunsaturated fats and unsaturated fats that stay liquid all the time, right? It's saturated fat is blamed, right? For decades they have blamed saturated fat for heart disease and whatnot, heart attacks, congenital heart failure and all that, triggering that. They have blamed saturated fat for all manner of health conditions. Salute to Sunshine, salute to Marcy T. Yo Hamas, salute to you. And so, this whole thing, the demonization of saturated fat, was initiated by this guy who did some research in 7 different countries. I'm not gonna get into the details of it, but big food, right? Big processed food organizations, big processed food industry, use this research to demonize saturated fats so that they can sell all the sugar shit, so that they can sell all the industrial seed oils, the Crisco and the canola oil and all that bullshit, all that horrible trash that they have been encouraging people to put in their bodies for decades and decades and decades, which correlated with the rise of heart disease, which correlated with the rise of obesity, as well as processed sugar shit. I'll call it sugar shit because that's what it is. People like to dress up sugar, right? They'll dress it up. They will dress up sugar. They will try to make sugar shit look like fruit, right? That's the justification. Now, fruit is better than sugar shit, right? Because the fruit is locked up in soluble fiber, right? The sugar. It breaks down much more slowly in the body, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar as readily as, say, a Snickers bar or table sugar, sucrose. These are horrible things. But a whole industry was created around processed sugar. A whole industry. Billion-dollar industry. Trillion-dollar industry, right? Which bleeds into other industries. The healthcare industry. Big pharma. Right? People being sick all the time, right? The sick care system that has benefited from from all the healthcare issues in this country, man. Charlie Matero says I'm racist. Okay, whatever you say, buddy. I appreciate that, Sunshine. Dentistry, exactly. Now, the whole industry. We have the big 3 foods, right, that capitalize on people's health. They capitalize on, people's lack of health. And so they had to keep certain other types of foods down, certain whole foods, like meat in particular, red meat in particular, right? They had to demonize red meat to drive you toward their bullshit. And what did it culminate in? It culminated in the advent of veganism, in the advent of vegetarianism. Well, vegetarianism wasn't really a huge deviation, right? Because vegetarians still eat cheese, they eat eggs, they eat this and they eat that. They still have an alternative to the processed nonsense that has been pushed by big food, right? Now they have the impossible shit. Now they're driving people towards full-fledged veganism, right? And how do they accommodate these vegans? Well, with products like Impossible and Beyond Meat, a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of shit that your body cannot process, right? The things that they put in this shit includes cellulose from bamboo and that type of nonsense. Well, guess what? Guess what? That stuff is not good for you. There is a rise in people, in young people, of colorectal cancer. Yeah, olive and coconut, right? If you're not pressing the olive and coconut yourself, then how do you know you can trust that bottle of olive oil you get from the grocery store or that bottle of coconut oil? How do you know it's virgin, right? How do you know it's extra virgin, right? You're not there while they're doing it. The bottom line is they had to change the guidelines for saturated fat to remove the demonization of it because they could no longer hide the truth about saturated fat and heart disease, right? They can no longer hide the truth about saturated fat and cholesterol, right? They can't. Cholesterol, even in and of itself. There is much more that needs to be understood about how cholesterol works. If you have high cholesterol, what are the surrounding factors? What are the variables around that? Are you metabolically healthy? Right? Are you active? How's your blood pressure? You know what I'm saying? How's your heart rate? How's your resting heart rate? Do you have the symptoms of somebody that they say has high cholesterol, which could be a problem? Somebody says, "Tell us, doctor." I see. Here comes an individual that wants to appeal to the expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm telling you what the doctor that runs the FDA says. The people that run the FDA. Robert F. Kennedy. I'm not telling you anything. I'm telling you what they said. I'm telling you what the research shows. Because I know how to read. And I know how to comprehend and interpret. It's okay though. Because you have to say things like, "Tell us, doctor," because you have no real argument against what I'm saying. But you don't like what you hear. So because you don't like what you hear, even though it's based in logic and based in fact, you want to say, "Tell us, doctor." You're trying to derail the conversation because I'm not a doctor. You're trying to insinuate that, what I'm saying isn't true because I'm not a doctor. They're calling out dyes as well. Do what wrong with that? Well, I think you need to restructure that sentence so I can better understand it, but it's okay. Exactly, Kyle. They don't just read research papers, but they do, right? They're also out there. They're doing the research. They're out there performing. I'm not discrediting doctors, but the bottom line is you don't have to be a doctor to understand. You said they are cutting out dyes as well. So what's wrong with that? And you're trying to convince me that is a grammatically correct sentence? And I think you're misinterpreting what I'm doing here. But it's okay. It's okay. All that shit should be cut out. Yeah, they should cut out dyes. They should cut out industrial seed oils. They should cut out processed sugar. Right? They should cut out all that shit. Synthetic foods. Synthetic sweeteners. All those things are not meant for human consumption. So, yeah, they should cut all that shit out. The bottom line is saturated fat is not bad for you, basically. Not inherently in and of itself, automatically, like they're trying to convince you, or like they've been trying to convince you. It's really about demonizing animal fat, animal meat, and the consumption of ruminant animals, chickens and whatnot. They will do whatever they can to demonize it, to criminalize it, whatever they got to do. Health scares, with the bird flu, and oh, you got a sick bird, you got to kill you got to kill half your flock. That type of silly shit. This is what this is about. This is what this has been about. And it's very cheap for them to make this processed food. Very cheap. But for whatever reason, the costs keep rising as though it's valuable food, but it's really not. So I'll just leave you guys with that. Today had to be a short live because I'm taking a shorter drive, so I got to make a couple phone calls. But yeah, you guys check it out, man. They did a press conference, and they were talking about the demonization and the research done behind saturated fats that created the demonization. And they're saying, that's a bunch of malarkey and a bunch of bullshit. So there are new guidelines. Go check it out. Saturated fat is not inherently bad for you. All right. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Thank you guys for coming through. And yes, y'all can get rid of spam. Y'all can get rid of bots. And anyone that says, I don't know why I'm listening to this guy, or why am I here, or all that silly type of shit, you get their ass out of here. If people are wondering why they're listening to me, that means that they don't want to be there, right? So escort their ass right on out of here. Yes, bioengineered ingredients. Right now they're trying to get us to eat bugs. They're trying to get us to eat 3D printed food. Like, who wants to do that? Right? Lab grown meat. Get the fuck out of here. Right? That's what this push was about. That's what it is ultimately leading to. So anyway, y'all, that's my 2 cents on that. I might do another video about it. I might continue the conversation because there's so much behind this. There's so much involved. So yeah, we'll talk about it later. Anyway, much love. Love you too, Marcy T. Much love to you as well, Sunshine, and everybody that came through. Everybody in the chat. Larry, Roosevelt, thank you guys for coming through. I really appreciate even the dissenters. Even the people that disagree with me. I enjoy people that come through and disagree, because it helps keep the conversation going and keeps it sparked up. So yeah, much love. Like, share, subscribe, and go get you some good old saturated fat from a good old delicious egg, or a T-bone steak, or a ribeye. You know what I'm saying? Go get y'all some brisket. You feel me? Or if you're vegan, do your vegan thing. It is what it is. Salute to you. Go eat your coconut oil, because coconut fat, because coconut fat is saturated fat. So enjoy. Anyway, salute to you. Much love. Like, share, subscribe, and make sure you know where your coconut oil and your olive oil is sourced from. And we're gonna keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. Peace.